En el 2022 solo 1.6% de las personas que vieron mis vídeos estaban suscritas a mi canal. Por favor suscríbete que me ayudarías mucho.
Knowing that he had some reservations about it.
You said that when he was, before you were married, when he was going through this sort of spree of dating a lot of other girls, it really got to you. Mm-hmm. What were your feelings then? You said you were upset, but can you say a little more about that?
I guess I just felt jealous in that, sometimes he was out while I was in classes, so I couldn't be with him anyhow. But often he'd be out for 3 hours, and I was only busy 1 hour, and you kind of get the feeling, well, why didn't he wait for me and sort of gone out for 2 hours anyhow? And it's just, you kind of wish it was you that was chosen instead of the other person. But objectively, I'd think, well, of course it's more exciting about a different girl, and I'm aware of the fact that John really loves meeting new people. He loves to talk to them and find out all about them, so it's really an exciting process for him. So, I try and console myself with that, but you still have the emotional feeling of, geez, I wish he'd waited for me.
Sounds like your mind says what he's doing is perfectly okay. It's really okay. Only not all of you says that.
It's a little harder in the actual process.
Part of it talks to the other part.
So.
One says, it hurts. Why didn't he think that much of me? And another part says, sure, it's okay.
Yeah, we've ended up with a lot of crazy arguments, and where that kind of thing where your emotional and objective, rational sides are at war. It often turns out really cockeyed because I'd make up some kind of a logical argument or something. It would be really weird.
Or your mind is trying to justify what you really feel, and what comes out is a kind of a nutty argument.
So that was kind of an unhappy period. But.
Can you say anything about any of the what difficulties have you had in your period of partnership? What would you think were some of the most stressful points? Obviously, this was one when he was going out with a lot of girls. Are there others?
I think for me the most difficult thing has been a reflection of what we were just talking about. In that I really like going out with other people. I tend to like groups of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people instead of just Nancy and I being by ourselves maybe all day. And Nancy isn't as inclined in that direction as I am. And so I've had to kind of adjust the idea that really I shouldn't put my thing on Nancy, and that we should always have company over every night. And so I think in some ways I've just compromised and modified my own desires. On the other hand, if there's any one major thing or area where at times I wish things were a little bit different, it would probably be that.
If you could make her over a little, you'd make her into someone a little bit more socially inclined. Is that it?
I don't even know if I do that. In its own way, it's nice having someone who, if Nancy was just like me, we'd probably get sick of having people over. Actually, we might just be 2 people who would overdo a good thing. So I don't even know if I'd make her over. But at times I think there's little moments of stress or disappointment that I might wish, geez, I'd like to really do something with someone this weekend, or have someone over today. And Nancy's not really too turned on by it, so if we have someone over, Nancy will be very accepting of it, but it'll be kind of just a response to my desires at the time.
And for you, what are some of the aside from the one you mentioned, what are some of the dissatisfactions that you sometimes feel?
I think, especially at first, and this too has, been working itself away, but I still feel it at times, is that our values kind of differed, especially when we first met. That John thought he's very hedonistic, and he always thought it was really nice not to work and be rich and just be able to do what you wanted all day. And I still have more of a kind of Puritan work ethic, not where I really want to work hard. I'm all with it. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. But if I were given the choice of doing whatever I want to do, I would feel like I really wanted to work at something, maybe not a 40-hour-a-day job, but work at something I liked. And I think I would structure my time a lot more in that. And that bothers me more at first, but, I'm gradually coming to see his ways. But I still feel like there's a lot more that I want to do. And that maybe if John didn't really try, he would just turn into kind of a lazy bum. Not that I want him to work if he doesn't want to, but I want him to be doing something while he isn't working besides just lying around. And, I think maybe he could do that. He probably won't, but possibly that could happen. And sometimes it worries me.
That's interesting because somehow just from seeing you, I would get almost the reverse impression. What do you have to say about that, John? Do you think there's any likelihood of you becoming a lazy bum?
No, I don't think so. At times, I think overall Nancy can, at this point in time at least, can really get into more things with more enthusiasm than I can. But I think Nancy upon thought would realize that there are some things I really get interested in, but I tend to be focused on one thing at a time. And when I get into it, I usually zip into it with a lot of enthusiasm.
You see it more as your rhythms being different. I mean, if you get focused on something, bingo, that's it.
Yeah.
But then there might be a period when you're not focused on very much at the moment.
Yeah, I think I tend to come and go a lot like that.
Yeah, I should know that, and I do rationally when I sit down and think about it, because I know there's a lot of things. You're always coming up with new ideas, and let's do this and let's do that. But it's just sometimes, when I hear him tell people to say, well, what do you want to do? And everybody else answers, well, I have all these, I want to do this and that. And he's, oh, nothing. I just want to, be rich and have fun and all this. And it kind of makes my heart skip a beat, but then when I think about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a case where your mind says, okay, that's what he likes, but your heart sort of says, whoop.
Yeah.
You say you share some things, are you also fairly supportive toward each other in what you do?
Yeah, I myself feel very strongly that we are. In my own perception, without Nancy, I wouldn't be the same person I am today. I find that Nancy is just an integral part of a lot of the things that I do now, and that I just somehow wouldn't really be doing if I didn't have her there. Somehow, not even an overt encouragement, but it's just her implicit support of my ideas, even if she isn't even interested in them, like business ideas or something I might think of. Just really gives me a lot of encouragement to go ahead and try it and do it. And I really like that about our relationship.
You feel a certain backing, really, even though there may not be a tremendous amount of interest.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I'm really dragging my feet, especially on your business ventures. He often comes up with, the way to make a quick million, and I often feel like I'm saying to him, no, it's not going to work, and putting out a lot of pessimism. But probably on the whole, at least I still say, well, if that's really what you want to do, go ahead and I'll come along, unwillingly. But
You're sort of a balance wheel in effect. Do you feel support from him in what you're doing? Or?
I think usually. Sometimes I feel like he could show a little more enthusiasm. But that's probably how you feel when, you know, I show pessimism about your business ventures. You know, and I don't think it's something that ever starts a fight or anything, but sometimes I just feel a little bit hurt that, you know, if I said something like, oh, listen, I'm going to go to Africa and study beavers or something, and he doesn't say, wow, that's a really great idea. Something like that. But it's really one of those problems that isn't a very practical one. You know, it doesn't come up that often. I don't usually feel hurt about it.
Yeah, that's hypothetical. It sounds as though your differences are not very great. When you do have differences, how would you describe the way you fight or work through them, or whatever does happen in your case?
I feel we do it very, very logically. At least
Logically?
I try and be very logical and rational on my part, you know, and John does too. I think I get more outwardly emotional. I cry very easily and everything. John tends to stay very, very cool.
I'm not sure I quite get that. You're very logical, but in such situations you cry very easily.
Yeah, I'm being logical through my tears, though.
Sometimes you're proud of the logic rather than of the tears.
Yeah, I think I am. I'd like to think of myself as a cool person, and I usually think I am not very emotional, and I pride myself on that. You know, maybe because I come from kind of a scientific engineering type family. You know, it's all very rational. But
so that for you, being rational is something you really value a good deal, and your tears. That's sort of
well,
doesn't fit.
yeah, it's not that I'm ashamed that I'm around John or anything, or embarrassed by them, but it makes it very hard to talk.
That's
So,
true.
Practically it's a problem. And he never cries, so, you know, why should I be the one crying?
You share that picture of her, and what's your reaction to how you work things out?
Well, Nancy does cry easily. It's not always. I don't think that it's deeply emotional for her, but she cries easily. I in some ways, you know, on one hand, I guess I'm not sure that I like hearing the rational thing way over the emotional, is the way it kind of sounds.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I think we've both been involved in situations where we weren't sure really how we felt. And the whole thing was kind of threatening. You know, the emotions are kind of mixed. And instead of stopping, we kind of let rationality lead and decide, well, you know, we can probably try it and handle it. And if it doesn't work out all right, we'll just say, well, it didn't work out and we'll do it again. And I think overall it's been an asset more than a hindrance to be willing to kind of venture forward even when your emotions are a little bit mixed up, or maybe even saying something a little bit different from what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm. So both of you really put rationality above a little above what you're actually feeling. Is that getting that picture right? In the settling of disputes and so on.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be the important thing is you know, how you rationally think of it. You know, like even if I feel jealous, I say, well, you know, we both know that it's right that you do this. So
I'm not
Does
quite
that really get rid of the jealousy?
I think it helps. I really do. You know, maybe it's partly that I'm proud of being able to control my emotions somewhat, so that I can work at it anyhow.
What were you going to say, Dennis?
Oh, I was going to say I'm not as good at letting rationality lead me all the time, and I think that's sometimes where I don't give her as much freedom as she gives me. So I think on one hand, like I really feel that it's somehow coming in my direction. It's a real good good attribute that Nancy is rational and lets rationality lead. But I think I'm more on a balancing post where at times I'll say, hey, I don't feel good about this, so I wish we wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And at other times I'll let rationality lead, or what I see as rationality, or I'll be willing to say, all right, we'll push the scale.